Hey, this is Coach Corey here from MRDC, Mooresville RIPFEST Diving Club. I was just making sure that I had my station set up for our connection drills today. And I'm coming to you to discuss where should I set my fulcrum on the diving board for springboard diving? Or why shouldn't I have my fulcrum on 3 or 2 or 1? So let's talk about some of the physics that apply to this aspect to hopefully help answer that question. See if we can get a decent view. It'll work just fine. So, traditional fulcrum, type A and type B fulcrum. We have a teeter-totter, which is affixed in the middle, and then we have our other fulcrum, which we have affixed here at one end. Okay? Now, the fulcrum that's in the middle, this moves, of course, and the closer this gets to the front, the more resistance there's going to be on that board to be able to bend. Now, the secret is, it's not really a secret, even if the board is on 1 and I do a fulcrum, the board is going to react the same way, and it's going to bounce twice, and I'm going to catch on the 3rd. Okay, hard to really tell when you're doing a jump off of something that is this tight. Now, the other aspect of our physics goes into the longer that you can exert force over a longer period of time exerts greater force. So the outcome, if we want is greater force, we want to stay on the board as long as we can. Now, if the board is tight, I can push down as hard as I want to, but it's going to stop, resist, and push back sooner than I'd like to. Now, if I'm doing standing skills, starting off, fulcrum up to the front, nothing's going to be necessarily that bad. Now I'll move it to 3. I've tripled the amount there, pliability that I have. Okay, same action. The board bounced twice on the fulcrum, and I'm catching on the 3rd bounce. Okay, now let's go to 6. Triple it again. 1-step hurdle. Woo! Now, I'm really starting to get some bend out of that board. Now, the longer that board goes down, the longer it's going to be coming back up. So that is me exerting force over a longer period of time. You saw the catch timing on that got a little bit smoother. It's hard to catch the board when it's tight. And I'm going to go all the way back to 9. Sometimes for me, being old and not as strong, I hope not to miss the catch. Woo! Now, I had to make myself think about that, so I made sure that I set my knees. So that's something that we train with our divers. We call them draw drills, and it's an action. Once you step out of the hurdle and you hit that full stretch position, the arms are going to float. We call this hidden, what is it? Crouching tiger. Hidden dragon is what we like to call that position. And when we do, we set those knees and they become a shock absorber. And when the board bounces twice, it's on its way back down when we're catching. So we don't want to have stiff legs, tight muscles when we do that. We want to be ready to catch and land on that board. So if we have good balance, because balance comes first among all the other aspects, we can spend more time on the board if we have more board to use. So with a lot of our athletes, they're not comfortable. Our gymnasts who transfer into diving, and they love it when it's out here on 3 because they're used to the floor. The beam doesn't give much. The bars don't give at all necessarily because we're not jumping off the bars. We're swinging off of those, okay? So they may start at 3. And what we want to do is if they're competing and stuff, we don't want to make any drastic changes. So what we do in dryland for our athletes, our dryland training facility, all of our dry boards, all 12 of them are set at 9, and the athletes are not allowed to move the fulcrum. So what that's doing is that's training them to catch that board, use all that board when we're going through our draw drills, the purpose of the draw drills, okay? Now, sometimes the athletes might take a few days of adjusting to that, depending if they're a little bit older and their skill ability might be pretty high. Now, it might take a few weeks to transition that back. And for some of your youngsters, they're going to be doing a lot of their skills standing. So it might be a period of months. But if you're doing any of your board work drills, like your actual hurdles, you'll want to have them practicing that, hopefully, with the diving board all the way back to 9. Now, if you wanted to get some extra practice, say I don't have a dry board, you can join our winter diving camps, RIPFEST. You can see it at ripfest.net. And we also have summer camps, 12 of those in the summer. This weekend, we also have the Ripple Effect Combine. So if you haven't signed up for that, you can still get online and sign up, and maybe we will see you there. Thanks again for joining us here. MRDC, Coach Corey, signing out.